and they line up 2 days ahead for big games like this one. But it was 1 degree overnight here in Spokane, so the university wisely discouraging that practice. But a dozen kids still lined up anyway for tonight's big game against the New Mexico State Aggies. And for the Aggies, Daniel Mullins, as we take a look at the starting lineup, scores almost 18 a game. He was a teammate of Kevin Pangos over the summer for the Canadian national development team that went to Russia and won 6 games. Simbular, the biggest man on the planet, perhaps, 7'5", 360 pounds. Now, for 19th ranked Gonzaga, who comes in at 7-1, just call them the usual suspects for Mark Few. This has been Mark Few's chosen 5 for all 9 games so far this year, and it's worked pretty well. They are 7-1. Pangos, Bell, and Dower average in double figures. Speaking of Mark Few, he is in his 15th season here on the bench for the Gonzaga Bulldogs. 9-time West Coast Conference Coach of the Year. And you see he has led the Bulldogs to 14 straight 20-win seasons as the conference expands and adds Pacific. Meantime, on the other bench, Marvin Menzies. This is Marvin's 7th year in Las Cruces. Led him to 3 NVIT titles. And we welcome those of you who just watched Alabama and South Florida. We're inside the Kittle in Spokane. A pair of 7-win teams facing off. Steve Quist alongside John Crispin. Glad to have you along here on this Saturday night. You have number 19 Gonzaga there in white. 7-3 New Mexico State out of the WAC. They're in maroon. They get the first offensive possession, and they get the first score of the basketball game to lead the Bulldogs 2-0.
Well, they did exactly what we thought they were going to do, and Gonzaga does exactly what we thought they were going to do, is that shoot the 3. Look for the Aggies to pound it in the post. 2 physical specimens in the post, one of them being Simbular, 7'5", 360 pounds.
Already saw them go to the post. Chilizi Napawe getting the game's first points. 6'10" junior from Johannesburg, South Africa. They'll try a 3 from the outside. That's DK Eldridge. He's by far their best 3-point shooter at 52%. The rest of the team shoots 28% from beyond the arc. And it is David Stockton with the opening points for Gonzaga.
Well, Gonzaga always has these small guards who are very crafty. You see Stockton going to the basket, challenging Simbular, but using the basket as a protector, finishing at the glass. Great shot.
Even at 2, both teams early in December, John Crispin, already 7 wins.
Well, they play a lot of games now. They don't take any time. I mean, they play a lot of games in November, and they're also high-quality games, games that get you ready for postseason play.
You saw Eldridge right there attack the basket and come up empty. Almost 2 minutes in here from the Kettle, where it's supposed to be -4 degrees outside overnight here in Spokane. And straight away, Sam Dower Jr., 6'9", out of Minneapolis, Minnesota. Happy that Elias Harris and Kelly Olynyk have moved on to the professional ranks.
Really happy. That's good for Gonzaga in some ways, but also guys like Sam Dower have to step up. Being able to knock down that shot is a whole nother threat to his game.
And those on ESPN News, you will be sent back to regular scheduled programming, and we'll continue here on ESPNU. New Mexico State trailing Gonzaga just over 2 minutes in. This is Chilizi Napawe. They call him Chili.
And this is a defensive breakdown that Mark Few's not going to like. Right now, Mark Few saying box out, box out. Rebounding has been a real problem for them in the past. And the one loss they have, they gave up a lot of offensive rebounds, but pressuring too far out on Chili out here is just not going to get it done for Gonzaga. You got to protect that basket. Can't give them easy shots like that.
Gonzaga's only loss came at the Maui Invitational in the opening round to Dayton on November the 25th.
Very good team, too. Don't want to take anything away from Dayton. It's a very good Dayton team, but they lost to.
That was Szymek Karnowski, 7'1", a sophomore out of Poland, going against Simbular. There's not a lot of guys that Szymek will be looking up to during the year, but
this
certainly,
is one of them. This is certainly one. I mean, you look for him, though. Gonzaga's going to look to double when he puts the ball on the floor in the post. And that possession right there, they didn't. And I know Mark Few's going to be yelling and screaming about that. You have to look to double when he puts the ball on the deck in the post. Otherwise, he's just too big. He's going to get Szymek in trouble, in foul trouble.
Napawe goes to the bench. He'll be spelled by Ronaldo Dixon, a 6'9" senior from Toronto, one of 4 players from Toronto on this New Mexico State Aggies roster. And he was bothered by some back spasms due to the cold weather and weren't sure if they were going to have them. And Boulard goes into the paint, quickly draws defenders, and a tie-up.
And we see that on cue. That's the defense we talked about. As soon as he puts the ball on the deck here, you're going to see it right here in the post. Puts the ball on the deck. They smother. They get the jump ball call. Great defense.
New Mexico State, they're 7-3 in the midst of a 3-game stretch where they're going to play a team picked to win the Mountain West Conference in New Mexico. Favorites in the WCC, Gonzaga here, and then soon to be #1 Arizona. So good luck there.
That's a fun road trip.
Exactly. This is Eldridge again, their best 3-point shooter, burying from the outside.
You know, that's defensive breakdown. You got to know who the shooters are. You've got to identify in transition. Something Gonzaga didn't do on that possession. That's a guy that can really light you up.
And a turnover by the Bulldogs. You know, Gonzaga is #1 in the country in field goal shooting, #2 in 3-point shooting, behind only Colgate. But New Mexico State, they're not too shabby, too, trying to get the rock in the bottom of the basket.
Oh, and that helps, having a big man in the post that's going to draw double teams. That opens up the floor. That's inside-out basketball. It's kind of NBA-style basketball. New Mexico State's going to look to go 3 out, 2 in, and take advantage of their size in the post.
Aggies come in through 10 games shooting 48% from the floor, and that is Simbular, 7'5", 360 from Toronto.
Wow. I mean, try boxing that out. I can't even think about it. That's a refrigerator.
New Mexico State with a 4-point lead early on against the Gonzaga Bulldogs. Marvin Menzies trying to get in as many bodies as he can to keep the momentum. Off the screen, Dower was open, gets his own offensive rebound and a miss. One thing they've got to get better at is rebounding.
Yeah, they certainly do. I mean, here, giving themselves second chance opportunities, this is what's going to open up the floor for them.
Kevin Pangos threw it over his head and got the second opportunity right to him.
There's a great opportunity to actually run some offense, make this team work on defense, and get something easy.
Here's a Canadian as well. Pangos giving it up to Stockton. Kind of surprised they didn't play dual national anthems before the ball game.
It's like a hockey game, right?
Exactly. We have so many foreign players here from Spokane tonight. At least half a dozen from Canada.
I was going to say, I think they're all Canadian.
New Mexico State on a 6-0 run here early on. Trying to knock off #19 Gonzaga, who is as high as #11 in the polls this year, and it's Simbular jamming it home. He averages 9.8 points per game, 7.4 boards for the WAC Freshman of the Year last year. And that is Karnowski over Boulard, and they're going to try and get Boulard into foul trouble, and he picks up #1 right there. Well, what Simbular does best is blocks. He had 85 last season, a school record. Says, get that out of there, Dower, and he'll score on the other end. Aggies up early. Welcome to Jimmy V Week for Cancer Research here on ESPN. We continue our commitment to the V Foundation and Jim Valvano's dream to defeat cancer. Welcome inside a toasty kennel where New Mexico State, who's been to back-to-back NCAA tournaments, has a 6-point advantage over 19th ranked Gonzaga. Welcome back courtside alongside John Crispin. I'm Steve Quiz. It is unseasonably cold outside. They're expecting -4 degrees overnight here in Spokane. And so far, Gonzaga team that comes in #1 in the nation in shooting at 56% from the floor is off to a 2 for 10 start.
Yeah, well, you know what? The Aggies are doing a great job defensively of taking them out of their rhythm. They're taking them away from what they're trying to do offensively, which is ball screen, dribble, drive, and kick. And they're doing a good job switching when they need to switch, help when they need to help, and then recover. They're doing a good job scrambling out of these defenses, rotating, and then finishing the possession with a defensive rebound, getting off onto a fast break, putting a lot of pressure on Gonzaga on the defensive end.
Last 8 possessions for the Bulldogs, 0 for 7 with a turnover.
I think now's the time. You got your Karnowski at the line here. He might be coming out after this shot, but Simbular going down here. They're going to do this. Every 3-4 minutes, they're going to sit him down, let him rest, let him get his legs, get him back in there when he's fresh. Because when he's fresh, he's very effective. We saw what he's doing there on the post. He's occupying space. He's working hard to get in position to get offensive rebounds and make things happen on the post.
Marvin Menzies telling us at shoot-around today. I mean, he can tell when the big fella is a little bit winded, and he doesn't let him go. Again, we go back to your hockey theme, right, with all the Canadians. He knows when to make a line change. He doesn't let him go more than about 4 minutes on the floor.
And neither team has a lot of size, so you're going to see Karnowski go out when Sim goes out. So I mean, that's kind of what you're going to see. Now you bring in three-point shooters. This is where the game can really heat up.
Yet to see Daniel Mullings, the leading scorer for the New Mexico State Aggies, heat up just yet. He touches it now. His
slashing ability is going to do this. It's going to drive and open up jump shots opportunities for the rest of his team.
Trayvon Landry, the freshman from San Antonio, Texas, who originally committed to Tennessee before Marvin Menzies got him to go to Las Cruces, was off the mark with that shot. David Stockton with the Pangos type move. They fight for it on the floor and wanting it more down underneath for the Aggies and Trayvon Landry. And a turnover right in front of us by Landry.
You know what? People don't realize this happens more than you might think. You know, these guys are almost professionals in terms of their level of basketball skill, but those little mistakes happen, and right now the Gonzaga faithful love it.
Bulldogs need to knock down a shot here. 2 for 11 now in this basketball game. The thing that hurt them against Dayton was rebounding and their bigs, like Dower, who just scored, getting into early foul trouble.
I mean, both Dower and Karnowski went out in foul trouble. Foul trouble, eventually fouled out. They can't secure rebound at the end of the game. They lose the game.
Almost 7 minutes in. And a entry pass, terrific on the mark to Napawe, and he jams it home.
Well, that's a simple face cut right there. That's a big, strong man saying, I will cut right in front of you, gain position, and finish at the basket.
David Stockton with a bounce pass underneath to Dower, and he got hammered underneath.
Yeah, you got to like what New Mexico State's doing. They recognize they have strength down here in the post. He is going to face cut right here down in the post and say, I am bigger than you, I'm stronger than you, I'm going to finish on top of you. It's a great strong, that's a man move in the post, and Mark Few's got to be careful of that.
Aggies look a little more physical than the Gonzaga Bulldogs in the early going. Would you agree?
Absolutely. And in this case, they seem to want it more. And you know, I watched practice yesterday and watching what Gonzaga does offensively in terms of the dribble drive. They like to bring guys like Karnowski and Dower out for ball screens, looking to drive, kick, get that open three. We haven't seen it. We have not seen a lot of three-point shots yet. We've seen a lot of shots going to the basket, you know, mid-range jumpers, but no threes. And ultimately, that's what Gonzaga needs to do to pull this defensive out and really wear down the big fella as well.
Good news for Gonzaga Bulldog fans. You're 4 for 4 from the free throw line. Still 3 for 12 from the floor. New Mexico State with a 2-point advantage. That is Kevin Aronis, a senior out of Northern California, with a miss, but a rebound by the Aggies.
That goes right back to what you're saying. They seem like they want it more. They're really being, not only that, they have guards that like to rebound the ball on the offensive side as well. You see Mullins really attack the glass.
Yep, and Boular is still on the bench. And Ronaldo Dixon, the senior from Toronto, who scores almost 7 off the bench, knocks down the jumper. Our first look at Kyle Dranginis, redshirt sophomore from Idaho. Barham in there. Barham with a great pass, and it's Sam Dower Jr. who finishes.
And that's set up by Barham's ability to knock down the three-point shot. He shoots it very well, and that's what opened up that driving lane.
What a terrific baseline move by Kevin Aronis on the other end. Aggies with a 4-point advantage. This is Pangos around the screen by Barham, and he drives in and bangs it off the window. Good high screen there by Barham.
It's good high screen, and really defensively, that's a breakdown. You got Kevin Pangos with the ball. I mean, this guy has been lights out shooting the basketball. You got to come up and hedge or double, get the ball out of his hands. He turns the corner, shoots that pretty little floater off the glass, which is not an easy shot.
All of a sudden, they're getting better looks, and Gonzaga is now shooting 36% from the floor.
Oh, and that's a defense wearing down, too. That was a ball screen we saw, and it's a defense that didn't jump out and do what they needed to do defensively.
Shot clock under 5. They find another shot for Dixon. This time he can't knock it down. In transition, Barham has it now. And they tried the entry pass to Gerard Coleman to Sam Dower. And that is out of bounds. Kevin Aronis keeping the New Mexico State Aggies with a 2-point advantage over number 19 Gonzaga. Almost 9 minutes in, the New Mexico State Aggies have a 2-point advantage over number 19 Gonzaga. They've led by as many as a half dozen. ESPNU delivers 3 college basketball games Sunday. It starts with a battle in the ACC as the Hokies face the Hurricanes at 12:30. Then at 5, the Ducks take on the Rebels. And at 8, the Pirates battle the Scarlet Knights. College basketball on ESPNU tips off Sunday at 12:30. All 3 games available on Watch ESPN. Back alongside John Crispin, I'm Steve Quist. We're at the Kennel in Spokane. And Simbular back in trying to guard Sam Dower Jr., who has 8 of Gonzaga's last 12 points. They couldn't buy a bucket when we went to our first media timeout. They had a nice little stretch there that I think Mark Few can be proud of and build on for that matter. Well,
Sam Dower got some easy looks around the basket when Bular went out. And I mean, that's something they're going to look to do now. Take that away with Bular in the game.
Gerard Coleman gets the offensive rebound of the putback. And the Providence college transfer has his first points of the basketball game.
Gerard Coleman's a guy with a lot of potential, a lot of upside. Moves a little too fast sometimes. I talk a little fast, he moves a little fast. Sometimes you just got to slow down, see things a little clearer when you slow the game down a bit.
You wonder how Providence let him get away. That kid was averaging in double figures. He scored 12 a game as he started 50 games for the Friars of Providence College. Sat out last year, scoring almost 10 a game here for Gonzaga. Wow. And drilling a 3 is Kevin Aronis.
That's a green light to shoot the 3. I mean, he just pulls with a guy in his face.
And what I told you, the rest of the team shoots about 28% as Coleman scores.
What was I talking about? Slow down. I'm trying to tell him to slow down. That's a great move to the basket. Put your head down, blow by the big fella. You know when the big fella's at the 3-point line, there's no one there to block your shot. Great drive to the basket.
1-point advantage for the Aggies of New Mexico State. B.K. Eldridge drives in, and an offensive foul is going to be called.
Gosh, that's the first time we've talked about an offensive foul. We haven't gotten into the new rules yet. This is amazing. Every broadcast we talk about it. That's nonstop.
And he went up too. He was in the air, but evidently the Gonzaga defender was set prior to his launching.
Well, and I like the new rules because ultimately, while it helps the offense, it helps the officials make a consistent call. And if they're making the call consistently, players can adapt.
Here's Coleman attacking the rim over Bular. Karnowski with the offensive rebound, and then he got fouled as he put it up.
Hey, big Simbular coming in here. The problem is when you contest a drive, you do not put yourself in position to rebound, and that's where Karnowski steps in right on the opposite side, gets it up there, pump fake, little up fake, get him off the ground. I mean, the big fella Bular is not going to get off the ground too much, but just moving that body and getting into him is going to send you to the foul line. That's going to put Bular over on the bench.
First miss of the night for Karnowski and the Gonzaga Bulldogs, for that matter. Karnowski, 7'1", sophomore from Poland. Another one of these frontline guys that Mark Few seems to find internationally.
Well, you got to think last year playing behind Kelly Olynyk had to really help his development. I mean, it really seemed to help his development. It's a big guy with great footwork, good soft touch. He's got that lefty stroke. And, you know, by the way, if you're left-handed, you shoot the ball well. It just kind of comes natural. It's a smooth shot. He's got a lot of potential and upside with him as well.
Shooting 74% from the field. Tried to get a touch in the post to Simbular. There's the point guard driving in. Casey Ross Miller, the junior from Grand Prairie, Texas, scores. And Coleman stepped out of bounds right there on the baseline, and a turnover for Gonzaga. Just their second turnover of the game.
I mean, here you see going to Bular, the problem is where he gets the ball. He's 20 feet from the basket. Now, if you overcommit yourself too far from the basket, you allow the dribble drive and no one there to contest. So you got to be careful where you're doubling. You're only going to double Bular down on the post, not 20 feet in the corner.
They go down on the post, Napawe, and Napawe draws contact. And Shimmick Karnowski is going to get whistled for the infraction.
Yeah, this is another one of those changes in terms of the rule that they're actually going to call it. Here you see in the post, He's got two hands on him. You cannot sit there with a hand on. Once you get it, once he catches the ball, you got to get that hand up. And they're going to call that consistently. And the truth is, while some coaches have complained about the officiating, if it's consistent, players will adapt. And I think early in the season it took some time, but players are starting to figure it out.
Not a foul last year, a foul this year.
It's a foul. Whether it was last year or it was not, it's always been a foul, it just wasn't called.
One of the points of emphasis. Scoring is up. Free throws are up, too, as a result of the new rules. Gonzaga is benefiting. They're dropping almost 92 a game, one of the leading scorers.
Well, and it puts a premium on position defense. You know, good position defenses. Coaches are really going to earn their money now because they got to teach position defense. You need to help. You need to be in the right position at all times.
Ross Miller using that screen by Chile Napawe to bury the jumper and keep the Aggies out in front by 5. Gonzaga answers on the other end.
And you got to like that athleticism, just in the transition. It forces the defense to retreat to the basket, and that's what's going to open up three-point opportunities for the rest of the team. It may not be Coleman. He's not really a three-point shooter, but he will slash and attack, really attract that defense back to the paint.
Zags yet to hit a three-pointer. They've hit as many as 14 in a game. They are second in the nation behind Colgate in three-point percentage. And against Dayton, they were held to just 5 three-pointers in their only loss. Foul right in front of us. We take you to break. I hope you are cozy in front of a fire somewhere. It's going to be -4 tonight in Spokane. Help us beat cancer. The V Foundation awards 100% of direct donations awarded to cancer research. Foundation endowment covers administrative expenses. Log on to www.jimmyv.org or call 1-800-4-JIMMY-V to donate. Well, New Mexico State has had as big as a 6-point advantage. They lead now by 3 with 7:53 to go in the first half of play. Shouldn't come as any surprise that the Aggies are playing well. They're back-to-back WAC tourney champs, and they won the WAC tourney title 3 of the last 4 years, and they're picked this year with all the movement in the conference to actually win the conference this season. I'd be shocked if they lost a game.
Absolutely. And I don't think I'm doing a good enough job tonight of really pointing out what they're doing defensively to keep Gonzaga from shooting the three. They're doing a great job defending the perimeter. They protect the basket but defend the perimeter. Here, another chance for them after a turnover to show what they're doing defensively. But watch them defend the perimeter, keep from that driving kick that Gonzaga loves.
It's been a pretty clean game as far as turnovers are concerned. That's just the 4th of the game for New Mexico State as Dixon lost it out of bounds. Here's Sam Dower Jr. off the mark. Another offensive rebound for Gonzaga keeps it alive. Coleman running into traffic. Dower's a 64% shooter from the field. Gary Bell Jr.
It's a great drive, but ultimately that's set up by Kevin Pangos being 30 feet from the basket and occupying a defender. Opening up that spacing, the driving lanes are there. Gary Bell Jr., a great three-point shooter. He's got to take advantage of that.
And we haven't seen much from him. That was his first points. Now in transition off the turnover, and it's Coleman. And it's Gonzaga that came away with it. Dranginis gets it to Bell, and he clangs it off the back of the rim. And now it's Gonzaga who starts to turn up the physicality and intensity.
Yeah, we talk about Bell. I mean, here you go. Occupying Kevin Pangos 30 feet from the basket leads to an open driving lane. It's a great athletic play set up by the fact that he shoots the three very well. They're going to contest hard. You got to be able to put the ball on the deck and take it to the hole.
1-point advantage now as the Aggies possess the basketball. They're 7-3 with that tough stretch ahead of them. They have to play the New Mexico Lobos twice here
in 1 month.
Yeah. Napawe went in, drew contact. This is a nice play here in the post.
Yeah, well, I mean, you see Napawe, he gets position because of his strength. And for Gonzaga, what you have to do is you got to defend before he gets the ball. You know, you have to get your position before he gets position on you. And that's, you know, you hear Mark Few say things like, you know, play defense before he gets the pass. I mean, that's the most important thing, defense off the ball, because ultimately that position is what gets you into trouble.
They counted the basket. He leads the Aggies with 7 points. They are 11 of 19 now from the field. We have one of the New Mexico State players changing into a different jersey right here.
A little snug fit there. I don't know. I don't think I can pull that one off.
That's Ronaldo Dixon. The Poway to the free throw line here. Try and complete the three-point play. You saw the interesting spelling of his name. T-S-H-I-L-I-D-Z-I. And it's pronounced Chilizi, but everybody calls him Chili, and he didn't mind.
That's good. Good for us.
Exactly. He's from Johannesburg, South Africa. He played high school hoops in Simi Valley, California. Gary Bell Jr. went in, got blocked, got it back, and scores it.
Little guys love that. You get to the basket, you get an offensive rebound after a block shot, and go right back up with it.
We didn't even know he was here for the first 10 minutes. And an offensive foul called against New Mexico State.
Yeah, we talk about the toughness, and right now Gonzaga's in a fight. You know, down one here, 6 minutes left in the first half, fighting to get that ball back. Little fella in the lane loves to go right back up with it. They're going to have to fight this team, because I'll tell you, the Aggies came out swinging. They really did. They came out swinging, and Gonzaga now kind of weathering the storm, going to start to take control of this game.
New Mexico State has turned it over 4 times in their last 7 possessions, and this time down the floor, Gonzaga has a chance to take their first lead since the 18-14 mark. Karnowski getting a touch in the post with a left hand, and an offensive rebound on Barham, and he got hit on the head, a foul against the Aggies.
Well, we talked about Gonzaga struggling on the on the defensive glass. They're doing a great job attacking the offensive glass when Simbular is out of the game. And I think that's something you really have to do. You have so many three-point shooters. You may have some long rebounds, but a great job attacking the backside glass. You look at 11 offensive rebounds for Gonzaga already.
Just the 16th foul for the Aggies, so it's awarded out of bounds, and a turnover for Gonzaga. Back the other way, here come the Aggies, and their leading scorer, Mullings, will finish.
He's a slasher. He's tough in the open court. David Stockton, a tough guard there.
Barham, the Memphis transfer, his 2nd year in the program, and the Poway with a rebound. Aronis will try it straight away. Why not? And there you have 4 guys running right into each other. Numbers for Gonzaga. Barham runs the baseline, kick out, Stockton wide open for 3. Boy, they're just not feeling it. Still an 0 for on 3s as Barham got it back, drove baseline and scores.
But then again, you look at it, your 12th offensive rebound of the night. Gonzaga hanging in there. Down 1 with 4 minutes and 52 seconds left, but hanging in there because of the attention they're putting to the offensive glass.
Marvin Menzie forced to spend a timeout and gets into it with Frank Harvey, one of our officials.
You know, and rebounding the ball is a combination of position and effort. Right now, I think it's more effort than anything else for the Gonzaga Bulldogs.
Well, the last team standing in NCAA women's soccer. They face off Sunday for the right to be called champion. Florida State against UCLA. The Noles have been to 7 cups since 2003, including each of the past 3, but have never won a national championship. Like Florida State, UCLA has been to the Women's College Cup many times, only to come up short. In 9 appearances, the Bruins have 0 women's soccer national titles. The championship of the NCAA Women's College Cup presented by Northwestern Mutual, Sunday at 3 here on ESPNU and live on Watch ESPN. I know you'll be watching that. UCLA Bruin alum who you are.
You know, Westwood loves championships.
That's right.
100 plus, I'm not sure where they're at now. 109, 109 national championships.
All right, all right.
I never got one when I played there, so can't brag.
Please don't rub it in. My school's got a few swimming ones, and we'll probably get you in softball. Casey Ross Miller with a touch here. New Mexico State with a 1-point advantage. They've led for most of this first half of play. Karnowski with a rebound. Chance again to take the lead. Gary Bell Jr. driving, a dish to Karnowski, and he missed it. A little chippy that he misses. Boy, I love the intensity.
Yeah, you like the intensity, but I'm telling you, big fella, this is a great pass. This is a setup. Just go ahead and dunk it. dunked the ball, big man. I mean, this is coming from a 6-foot guard, so it's really, I can't say anything. But that's one you just have to finish strong at the basket and force him to foul you.
Tranginis getting whistled for his second. Team foul number 6. 4:14 to go here in this opening half of play. As good as advertised.
Yeah.
Back-to-back WAC tournament champions at 7-3 on the road against the Gonzaga Bulldogs, who are 19th in the country at 7-1, coming off being a #1 seed last year, having won 31 games, only losing in the 3rd round to Wichita State, who got to the Final Four. Nothing there for Ronaldo Dixon. And speaking of offensive rebounds, seems as if each side's in double figures now.
Well, I think you got a lot of effort from the guards hitting the offensive glass. And those are the tough guys to block out. There's a lot of movement. It's hard to identify and block that man out.
Still plenty of time to go on the shot clock here as Mullins runs it down. He's been relatively quiet. 1 for 4, a couple of points. Again, he's their leading scorer, averaging 17-7 a game. Bell with a rebound. Great passing. Coleman can't finish again. Coleman gets it back, and this time he'll score it.
Coleman does a great job in transition, whether with the ball or without the ball, somehow occupying the block. And as a guard, again, that just goes back to spacing. It's going to open up the floor for Kevin Pangos, who really hasn't been involved yet.
Coleman has 8 off the bench. He's the leading scorer for the Bulldogs. He's been a tremendous spark for Mark Few here this first half. Ross Miller with a kick out. Aronis for 3, in and out. That has happened to him a couple of times now. And that's going Gonzaga's way. 2:38 to go in the opening half. Gonzaga has pulled out in front of New Mexico State. They lead it by a point. Gonzaga by a point. It's their first lead in about the last 16 minutes. And we had established early on, John Crispin, that Gerard Coleman was a scorer at Providence, averaging in double figures. Comes off the bench here for Mark Few in his first year, has 8 already.
Yeah, I mean, this is a guy that's in attack mode all night. He's attacking the glass with the ball. He's attacking the offensive glass without the ball. Here you see he's had a lot of success picking up some chippies around the basket. But attacking. That's what's going to get Gonzaga back in this game. The Aggies have done a great job of protecting the perimeter. And that was the scouting report. We talked about it. Gonzaga shoots the ball so well from 3, 48% as a team, that opposing defenses have to respect the 3. And if anything, we will give up an open drive to the basket before we give up open 3s, because they can bury you with the 3.
And that has been the narrative early on. Gonzaga is 0 for 4. Again, this team has made as many as 14 threes in a game, as little as 5 in their 1 loss to Dayton. The thing that has kept them in this and now has given them a 1-point advantage has been 13 offensive rebounds, as Barham, the Memphis transfer, throws up an air ball.
I mean, the funny thing is they've only taken 4, now 5 threes. They're really not getting the good looks. So the 0 for 4, I mean, that's 4 tough threes that they're just not getting good looks. So, you know, you got to take what the defense gives you. And in this case, it's going to be drives to the basket or feeding the post down low.
Barham is 0 for 2. Gonzaga now 0 for 5, and he came in shooting 47% on threes. Mullings around the screen by Napawe. Dishes it to the wing, and nothing there for Trayvon Landry. They'll reset up high. Mullings finds the shot. Napawe with the offensive rebound. Can't score it. Got another tip on an offensive rebound. And it's out of bounds, and it is going Gonzaga's way.
Starting to turn around. Gonzaga doing a good job at least occupying bodies on the defensive end. Just get a body on a rebounder. Make it difficult at least for them to get up and get that ball. I mean, there you see Napawe just too strong sometimes. You got to put 3 bodies just to slow him down.
New Mexico State 0 for their last 7 from the floor after going 7 for 9 to begin the proceedings. Here's Coleman, why not, over the 7'5" Boulard. So come on out, big fella, and he knocked it down.
All the scouting report on Coleman is that he's going to drive. And the fact that he's able to step out and hit a 15-footer is going to pull the big fella out.
First in double figures for either side is Gerard Coleman. Gonzaga now with a 3-point advantage. It is their biggest of the game. It comes inside of 90 seconds. Boulard against Karnowski. And a whistle and a foul underneath. Well, now Boulard starting to bark at his teammates.
I mean, look at the space here. Look at the space. I mean, come on, man. Shoot it. Shoot it. Shoot it. That's what he's saying. That's what Boulard's saying. Shoot it. And for you to step in and take that jumper, just shooting that basketball is most important thing. If you don't take that shot, you're never going to get the defense to respect you. You're never going to get the defense to pull out. I mean, we saw 10 feet in between Boulard and Coleman. Coleman taking that one dribble, smooth rhythm jumper, knock it down.
Napawa got whistled for the foul. That'll be his second. Karnowski now to the free throw line. And another miss for him. Started making his first threes, missed his last two. He has 3 points, 7 big rebounds in the game. Inside of 45 seconds to go opening half. New Mexico State is led by as many as 6. Gonzaga has led by as many as 3. Boulard recognizing the double team. One to shoot. And Landry gets it off just in time. Missed the shot. Ball is loose. And it's Barham who comes away with it. Here's Coleman again looking for a dozen. Attacks the hoop. Little wild there. Barham to Karnowski with the left hand. In and out. The fans here in this building like us hanging on the edge of our seats. Aronis with a dish. And a score there by Mullins. And that will be the final shot of this first half of play. And what a great first half it is. Just 1 point. The Gonzaga Bulldogs with a 1-point lead over the back-to-back WAC tournament champions from Las Cruces. 31-30, 19th ranked Gonzaga with a lead.
Welcome into halftime. Matt Chick along with former ACC head coach Dino Gaudio. When the polls come out on Monday, we will have a new #1 team. Arizona trying to make sure it will be the Wildcats. They were #2 entering this game, taking on UNLV. And here's Lute Olson on hand. Miles Simon. Here's Aaron Gordon, super freshman.
Those big guys pass the ball so well. And Gordon, of course, I could have finished that, Matt.
You say so. Kem Birch grabbing the offensive board, getting the lane. UNLV fighting in this one. They're up 1 with 3 minutes to go. Then T.J. McConnell steadying the ship.
A very steady point guard. The Duquesne transfer plays just like his coach did, Sean Miller.
2-point game. Birch cannot get the shot to go. And then still a 2-point game. 30 seconds left. McConnell, to Brandon Ashley. 4 players in double figures for Arizona. They beat UNLV by 5. How about number 18, UCLA, sticking in the Pac-12, taking on Missouri on the road, a place where the Tigers simply do not lose, Dino.
The longest home winning streak coming in is Missouri's 23-game winning streak, but UCLA could score the ball. Came into Mizzou Arena averaging 91 points a game.
You saw Zach Levine, the freshman. Then that's Jordan Clarkson, the Tulsa transfer. And here's Levine again. Windmill alert.
Elite athleticism.
There's a price to pay, though. You can hurt yourself with that. Second half, Ernest Ross decides to step out where no one's going to guard him.
Beyond NBA range. And the 3 guards from Missouri are just superb. Ross, Jabari Brown, Clarkson. They combined for 63 of Missouri's 80 points.
UCLA had an 8-point halftime lead, and they lose by 9 to the Tigers. Great finish out in Boulder. Number 6, Kansas, and Andrew Wiggins. Wiggins had a game-high 22, but in the end, they don't go to him.
Well, look at Bill Self. That's Frank Mason, Perry Ellis, pick and roll. Wiggins is a decoy. Ellis finishes.
So that ties the game at 72. Colorado one last chance. Askia Booker to avoid OT. Let's avoid OT in Boulder.
The Kansas defender just afraid to foul, thinking there's no chance that's going in, but Booker nailed it.
So Colorado snaps a 19-game losing streak to Kansas with a 75-72 win over their old Big 12 rival. Any concerns with Kansas, their second loss of the year?
I don't think so at all. I think they're a young team, and Bill Self will get them going. But one thing that he's going to address in practice, 15 offensive rebounds by Colorado, and Colorado went to the free throw line. Check it out, that far right-hand column. Ooh. 22 for 37 from the free throw line for Colorado. Difference in the basketball game, Matt.
15 missed free throws, but they made enough.
They made enough. 22 compared to 13.
There it is. Number 8, Wisconsin hosting Marquette. Wisconsin coming off a win at Virginia. There's Bo Ryan looking to continue their best start in a long time, about 20 years. Sam Decker, the sophomore. Wow.
20 and 10 from Decker. We always knew Wisconsin's big guys could shoot the ball, but these guys are pretty athletic now.
Leave the dunking to the big men.
Absolutely.
Right? Ben Brust and Frank Kaminsky says, let me show you how it's done. And Trayvon Jackson to Kaminsky again. What a bright spot he's been.
A 7-footer that can dunk it. He drops 42 this year, and he's making threes as well.
Wisconsin with the 70-64 win. BYU, former player Danny Ainge, of course, checking in on his team, taking on UMass. It's Derek Gordon with the nice dish. Chaz Williams, though, was the star of this game.
He really was. 6 UMass players in double figures, but Chaz Williams has 32, and he's making it run for A10 Player of the Year.
32 points, 15 assists. UMass 8-0, the 6th best start in school history. Back to Arizona. Number 2 coming in. They'll likely be number 1 by virtue of their win and Michigan State's loss to North Carolina this week. How do you perceive Arizona as a number 1 team?
Well, remember this, Matt. This is a very young team, and their top 9 guys, there's not a senior in the roster. They're very deserving of number 1. True road game at San Diego State. We know they go to New York, beat Drexel, and beat Duke 72-66. Strong front line with Terzuski, Ashley, and the freshman Gordon. 7 foot, 6'9", 6'8". The backcourt, marvelous. Nick Johnson, as we know, T.J. McConnell, really like this team.
Johnson, Aaron Gordon, only 4 points in this game. Shows you the balance that a team like Arizona has. Please help us in the fight against cancer. It is Jimmy V Week. To donate to the V Foundation for Cancer Research, log on to jimmyv.org or call 1-800-4JIMMY-V. 100% of all direct cash donations are awarded to cancer research. Second half action coming up.
It has been tight throughout, and just a point separating us at half. Number 19, Gonzaga, who's won 32 of their last 33 home games, leads New Mexico State and the Aggies by just a point, 31-30. The Big 12 SEC Challenge continues Tuesday as superstar freshman Andrew Wiggins leads the Jayhawks into the O'Connell Center for a tough road test against Casey Prather and the Gators. The Big 12 SEC Challenge, part of the Journey to the Tourney, Tuesday at 7 on ESPN, also live on Watch ESPN. And KU losing today to Colorado. They've had 2 losses already to Villanova and CU, but what do you think of Andrew Wiggins so far?
Well, I mean, when you talk about freshmen in college basketball this year, you can go across the country and find many. But Andrew Wiggins can do it all. I mean, that's what really the next level scouts like so much about him, is he can really play any position. Clearly, he's filling up in terms of the stat sheet. But it's what he can do in terms of the intangibles that makes him an immediate asset to an NBA team next year if that's what he decides to do. Now, I'm telling you, you look at some of these guys, Andrew Wiggins even being one of them, the college experience is very special. And Bill Self does a great job with that Kansas basketball team. I tell you, there's going to be something that may keep him around.
One of the rare Canadians not playing in this game here at the Kennel. It's Gonzaga by a point over the Aggies at half. Well, despite shooting just 35%, not making a 3 so far, number 19 Gonzaga leads the Aggies of New Mexico State by a point here, 31-30. Welcome back inside a toasty Kittle. Supposed to be -4 outside in Spokane tonight. So far, cold shooting by Gonzaga. Sequence alongside the former UCLA Bruin, John Crispin. Your impression so far of the first half as we take a look at the K Jewelers halftime statistics?
Well, I think ultimately it's the Aggies defense is what's getting it done. I mean, you look at this stat right here. 0 for 5 from 3. For Gonzaga, that's what we spoke about. That's what opens up the floor. That's what gives them easy buckets down low. It really puts a lot of points on the board, and they can really build them in bunches. The Aggies are doing a great job of protecting the paint, but also covering the three. They're doing a good job getting offensive rebounds, and so is Gonzaga. That's really what's keeping both teams in the game. When you look at the big fella, Sim Boular, he occupies a lot of space. He does a good job on the defensive end, but I got to give him credit. He's very active offensively. As big as he is, as big as that 360-pound, 7'5" body is, he's very active. Now, he only played 10 minutes in the first half. And I think you have to look for him to get a few more minutes. He had 2 fouls, kind of midway through the first half, so understandably sit him down. Look for him to play 12 to 15 solid minutes, and I think that really helps the Aggies out.
Only 1 block shot for Boular, who came in with 33 block shots in the season. He actually had 10 in 1 game earlier this year.
Imagine that.
New Mexico State has the basketball to open up the proceedings here in the second half of play. They've led by as many as 6. They've trailed by as many as 3. And they're down by 1. Eldridge with a nice pass to Napawe. That's the way they opened up the game, and they come up empty here on that possession to open the second half. Stockton gives it up. Karnowski underneath. He saves it from going out of bounds, but turned it over. This is Mullins. As you look at Boular, I mean, it takes a while to get him up the floor. It's not as if he would play for the 1990 Loyola Marymount Lions, would he?
No, not at all. And that's a great point. But that's what New Mexico State does well. They play 3 out, 2 in basketball, and while it may take him a little time to get down the floor, they have the patience.
Eldridge with a miss. The result on the other end is an easy look for Sam Dower Jr.
And that's actually set up just by what we were talking about in terms of the bigs getting back on defense. Boular at half court when that layup goes in. Sam Dower just wide open at the basket.
He joins Gerard Coleman in double figures for the Bulldogs with 10 points apiece. And we have a whistle and a stoppage in play.
You like the push. You've got the 2 bigs trailing the play. This is why Dower's going to be wide open. That's just a mismatch. 2 bigs at half court while he's getting the layup. Not going to get it done. And I'll tell you what, the Aggies, they better clean that up because this thing could get out of hand quickly.
Stoppage in play across from us. The officials are going to take a look at a replay of one of the events that just happened here a moment ago. We talked with Frank Harvey, who you see there on the left. He said, I'm going to let you know. You're going to be the first people to tell when I go look. But early on, he has not come over. Almost 90 seconds in.
They've done a good job. It's a clean game. It's a very physical game. They're doing a good job letting them play. I think they're looking at the elbow, whether Sim Boular actually threw the elbow here.
Yep.
Take a look at it.
See if it's a flagrant or not.
I don't think it's a flagrant. Now, the rule is anything above the shoulders with an elbow is a flagrant. Now the question is intent, and I don't think he meant to do it. I mean, you take a look at what he did. He just gets the ball, and what a big guy wants to do is put the ball over his head. That's where it's safe. Just get a little too close. I don't think he had any malicious intent here.
Was there some thespian action on part of Karnowski as well there? They have good acting program here at Gonzaga.
A little Vladdy-Dotty.
See whether or not Frank Harvey and his official crew will see that. You look at Boular there, and I got to tell you, when I popped in the game tape,
we look at the height difference. Clearly quite a difference in height. But let's take a look at it. I mean, this does happen, and bigs are told to clear space by getting your elbows out. Now, he is entitled to this space without swinging the elbow. Let's take a look at what they decide.
They're going to call another official in. I was just about to say, when I popped in the game tape against Hawaii, he was at the free throw line, and I thought for a moment I had put in Princess Bride.
Yeah.
Fezzik, Andre the Giant's character.
That's quite a call.
I mean,
that is quite a call.
I'm like, wait a minute, is this Princess Bride or is this a college basketball game? 7'5", 360 pounds. When he came on campus, he broke his foot, and Boulard got up to 410 pounds. They worked him down to 336 pounds. He's up about 355 now.
And here we take a look at what the flagrant run or the flagrant 2 is. You look at a flagrant 2, an automatic ejection, excessive severe or extreme live or dead ball. I mean, I don't think he had the intent to do anything wrong. He is just clearing space, and Karnowski was all up in his face. So, you hope that he doesn't leave the game because of this play. It didn't seem like a flagrant swing of the elbows.
By the way, he has a little brother that's redshirting this year and is on the trip, Tanvir, who's 7'3". So together, those two are like 14 feet 8 inches and almost 700 pounds of skeletal girth.
And we're talking about the size, but you really have to talk about their skill as well. Tanvir, a very skilled big man. We saw him before the game, shoots the ball very well, great footwork. And I mean, Sim, we see just the position he gets. You don't just run down and stand there. He runs down, he works, he uses his footwork well when he has the ball. He's got a great right hook, uses that left shoulder well. Talented big man.
They'll call both Mark Few and Marvin Menzies over with Frank Harvey. This is a big moment in the game right now. 18:33 to go. The Bulldogs with a 3-point lead, and Sim Boulard could in fact be called for personal foul number 3.
Well, I don't think there was a call on the play.
No.
So you can't go back and make a foul call, personal foul call, after the fact. I think the concern was you saw that Karnowski was hit in the face, so they had to take a look at it. By rule, you have to go take a look at it.
Still debating in front of us. Marvin Menzies turned and walked away from the official crew as if to give the impression, you got to be kidding me.
And it looks like they are making a flagrant call.
And Frank Harvey's going to come over and explain to us what he has called. Flagrant 1. Flagrant 1. Karnowski with 2 shots, and Gonzaga will get the basketball. We'll note at 18:33 they go from a 3-point advantage to a 4-point advantage to perhaps, if they knock down their first 3, a 7-point advantage. Boulard just got called for his 3rd.
And let's talk about what this does. I mean, it puts another point on the board for Gonzaga, and at the same time getting the ball back, and the 3rd foul on Sim Boulard, who now has to go to the bench with only a minute and a half gone by in this second half. I talked about he only played 10 minutes in the first half, and I think you're going to need 12 to 15 minutes, solid minutes from him, if you want to keep control of this game and potentially win.
Quite frankly, I didn't see a ton of contact there, but instead, after the fact, they call the flagrant 1. Here's Dower, spin move, and gets the friendly home rim right there.
Well, clearly you know what's going to happen when Sim Boulard goes to the bench. You're going to attack the paint. You're going to attack the paint. You're going to feed the post play inside-out basketball. Great job of Gonzaga doing what's necessary when the big guy goes out.
So it turns out to be a 3-point swing from 33-30 to 36-30, and it represents the biggest lead of the game for the Bulldogs. And a foul against Gonzaga.
Take a look at the screen here. David Stockton gets hit with a good one. I think in full speed it looked a little rougher than it did in slow speed, but that hurts more than you can imagine. I mean, David Stockton can't go more than $170 soaking wet, and he took a shot.
Talked about the physicality in the first half. It continues here in the second half. Little out of control play there by Casey Ross Miller. Gonzaga comes away with it. Dower has a dozen. Puts it on the floor and scores with the left hand. He has 14. And a timeout on the floor. Gonzaga still has not hit a 3-point shot. The second best 3-point shooting team has used the bigs underneath. And they have an 8-point advantage over New Mexico State here in the second half. Welcome to Jimmy V Week for Cancer Research on ESPN. We continue our commitment to the V Foundation and Jim Valvano's dream to defeat cancer. Alongside former UCLA Bruin basketball player John Crispin, I'm Steve Quist, and we're about to see what the New Mexico State Aggies are made of. They're on the road. A call goes against them. They're down 8. Boular's now on the bench. It's a tough environment. As we take a look at Sam Dower and what he's done here in the second half.
Sam Dower's done a good job of running the floor, occupying space down low, and also the soft touch. You know, when the big guy, Sim Boular, goes out, he gets down in the post and gets active. You see the great footwork, very good footwork for a big guy down low.
Dower has 6 points in the second half. The lead is 8, the biggest of the ball game for Gonzaga. And Dranginis just got called for a reach-in foul, or will they get Stockton? I think they're going to call Stockton, and that's going to be the first on Stockton.
The scouting report on Mullins is that he is going to go hard to the basket, so you have to chip in and help. I mean, really commit to the help to keep him from getting in that paint. So Stockton, a tough draw there with a great drive.
Mullins has been incredibly quiet in this game. Scored just his 5th point right there. He's 2 for 6 from the floor again. Averages 17.7 points per game, and he was a teammate of Kevin Pangos this summer on the Canadian National Development Team. They've kept him quiet as Gonzaga's defense.
Yeah, and that's Mark Few paying attention to it and understanding this is what his skill set is, and this is how we're going to take it away. They're doing a great job executing on the defensive end.
Why not try Dower again? He got a little greedy, turns it over. Mullins trying to attack the basket. And we're going to have a blocking foul called, and it's going to go against David Stockton, his second in the last 30 seconds.
Well, this is a tough one. As we take a look at it, you see dig down in the post, steal. What you used to see is a guy like David Stockton stand there and take that charge, but with the new block charge rule, you're seeing defenders really not commit fully to that charge. They're not holding their ground because they're just not getting those calls. There, David Stockton kind of semi-committing, somewhat in, somewhat out, gets the foul call.
Mullins back to the free throw line. New Mexico State needs to find some field goals here in this game. Almost approaching the last 9 minutes with 1 made field goal. Three minutes into this second half. Gonzaga trying to go to 8-1. Ranked 19th in the country this week. Their only loss coming at Maui to Dayton. This is Stockton. Looks a lot like his dad. Played 19 years for the Utah Jazz. And they're going to call Karnowski underneath. Extracurricular activity, pushing and shoving against Ronaldo Dixon. There is John. We dined prior to the game at Jack and Dan's, which we believe he's part owner of.
He looks like he can still go, too. I mean, he's aged a lot better than I have, and I'm 32. I mean, they do a spitting image, father, son, but he looks like he's in great shape, still looks good.
You know, they often talk about what he did here. They're playing 19 years in the NBA, but mom played volleyball here, and the great-granddad Houston was an All-American halfback for the 1922 Gonzaga Bulldogs. Here's Pangos. He's been quiet. Pangos with the first 3 of the night for the Bulldogs. Took him almost 24 full minutes.
I wish I could say it was a good look, but it wasn't. It was just dial up your own number, pull the shot, knock it down.
Eldridge tries to answer on the other end, and it's quickly getting away from New Mexico State. You can get the feel. Maybe they'll get it back here in transition defense. Mullins attacking the hoop with good penetration, and it's cleaned up by the Aggies.
Well, that's a great job of offensive players trailing the play, attacking the offensive glass. And as a defender, you have to get in there and get a body on players trailing the play.
Ross Miller just picked up a foul right in front of us. Kevin Pangos hitting the first 3-pointer of the night for the Gonzaga Bulldogs. Came with just over 16 minutes to go in the game. 19th ranked Gonzaga with a 6-point lead at home over the New Mexico State Aggies for the 23rd year. The best college football players in the nation will be honored at the Home Depot College Football Awards. Join the game day team Thursday at 7 Eastern on ESPN. when we come to you from the Walt Disney World Resorts for a night that is a celebration of the year in college football. Don't miss it. What a year it's been. Michigan State just knocks off Ohio State to win the Big Ten title. Stanford wins the Pac-12 title. So it should be Florida State who won the ACC championship in the national championship game against, I got an idea. Let's throw Northern Arizona in there and see. Who's it? Probably going to be Florida State and Auburn now, right?
I would say so.
Let's let the Lumberjacks go.
Talk about a miracle season with Auburn. Some of these wins, I mean, gosh, it's what's made college football even more exciting than it already is.
Northern Illinois got knocked off. That's why I want the Lumberjacks of NAU in there. Let's give them a crack at it. Another wild shot thrown up by Ross Miller. Going to get bailed out by a foul underneath. Kevin Pangos is going to get whistled for the infraction. Well, a minute ago, that kid hit the first 3 of the night for the Bulldogs. They're 1 for 6. Napawe can't get it to fall, gets his own offensive rebound and bangs it off the glass.
You know, that's not just Napawe, but that's the rest of the team attacking the offensive glass, keeping the ball alive for Napawe to get it back and get a stick back.
Down to the post, Karnowski turns with a left hand and banks it off the window. Kid's got some skills.
He sure does, especially with that left hand, right shoulder, left hook. Very effective when he has post position.
Napawe with a miss. Gonzaga has it. And then it is out of bounds. Shimmick, Karnowski underneath.
And you got to know, scouting report is left hand, right shoulder. So you have to force him baseline in this situation. Make him use that right hand to shoot. He's a tough guy to cover, 7'1", with a great wingspan. If he gets position and you give him that right shoulder, left hook, he's going to beat you more times than he's not.
Surprisingly, he's made only 1 field goal, and that was it. And that is Ross Miller stepping back to knock down the jumper.
The tempo has definitely slowed down a bit. And you see both teams trying to attack the basket.
Coleman off the mark. Had a great finish to the first half off the bench. Another wild shot by Mullins. And here's Coleman with a slam dunk. Glides in with ease.
It's a great run out, but ultimately it's Napawe not willing to pick up another foul. When you've got Sim Boulard down on the bench with 3 fouls, the other big Napawe, Chili Napawe, can't afford to pick up another foul. You got to let him go. Give him up that dunk.
Coleman with a dozen. Ross Miller with another miss. Gonzaga with numbers at 3-on-2. Coleman again. And the tip in there by Dower. And there's a foul underneath.
I think they're going to count the basket. You see Coleman just gliding down the floor, but Napawe not willing to contest and pick up that foul. Just too easy. And if Gonzaga gets too many of those, this game could get out of hand pretty quickly, because this is going to open up some 3-point opportunities.
The basket will count that you just saw. The foul was against Gonzaga. So now the Bulldogs have an 8-point lead, matching their biggest of the game. Aggies with the basketball. Trying to get a post touch to Boulard, and they turn it over. Coleman again, and that got blocked by Eldridge. What a spark he's been, not only in the first half, but now in the second half as well.
And you got to like what he does, but first we look at this defense. We said you've got to attack the guys with the ball, attack the dribble drive and the fast break. Coleman does a great job of just making the defense cover, retreat back to the basket on an offensive fast break.
Coleman around the Dower screen, drives in against Boulard and scores it. .16 for Coleman. The lead is 10, the biggest of the night for the Bulldogs. This is a big possession, is it not, for the Aggies?
Yeah, it sure is. I mean, I think if you're New Mexico, you got to find a way to go inside. But last time, Sam Dower did a great job of getting position defensively and getting that steal.
It slipped away on New Mexico State about 6 minutes ago with that flagrant one against Boulard. They have been unable to recover. Coleman again. Goulart grabbed the rebound and then got fouled by Barham.
You gotta like this. What do you do with shot blockers, especially ones that have 3 fouls? You go up into the body, and for Coleman to take the hit and finish the basket with the left hand, here you see it again. A great finish, and it's the right call. It's the right no call for the officials not to make that call. You can't punish a guy for being 7'5" and 360 pounds.
That's right.
You know, it's great position defensively, but just a better finish.
Coleman was in the tough Big East, so he's not going to be afraid to go against Goulart, who weighs 360, at least listed that way.
Although I don't know if there's any in the Big East that are built like that.
8 minutes gone by, second half. Gonzaga's defense been much, much better. 10 to shoot. Ross Miller, the point guard, drives in the lane and lost it. Another turnover for New Mexico State, their 9th of the game. Dranginis, great entry pass to Coleman. Why not? He can't score, but there's a foul, and it's against Dixon. Oh, Gerard Coleman. Not sure what he had for breakfast this morning here in Spokane, but it's working. He has 16 off the bench as number 19 Gonzaga leads it by 10.
The thing I remember the most is him running right across our bench trying to find somebody to hug after he won the championship. And I do remember following that team through that tournament and how resilient they were. And they should have lost a couple, 2 or 3 of those games, but somehow found a way to win. And you take a team that just took on the personality of their coach. Coach V was a fighter.
Yes, he was. Jimmy V would be proud of everything that everyone has done to donate. And if you'd like to donate, on the screen there, jimmyv.org, or you can call 1-800-4-JIMMY-V. And just a moment ago, we had a Gonzaga student hit a half-court shot, win $900. So let's pressure that guy maybe to give a little to the Jimmy V Foundation. Half.
Everybody makes those shots nowadays, too. You see more than not. Free tuition, free books. Somebody's midnight man, and someone's walking away with a scholarship.
See what Coleman has done here tonight, and he's done it in just 14 minutes on the floor. A spark in the first half and the second half, and now the Bulldogs reestablish their biggest lead of the night at 11. New Mexico State picked to win the WAC conference. Here's Goulart with a kick out. Mullins with the entry pass to Dixon, and the kid fighting back spasm scores another field goal.
That's a position basket. That's getting a guy on your back, maintaining good position, getting the pass, just turning and shooting over a guy that just doesn't match your athleticism.
New Mexico State had been 4 of their last 24 until that shot there. Karnowski against Goulart. Coleman, why not? Was disrupted underneath. He gets it back and gets it to Karnowski. 5 to shoot though. Pangos, long range 3. Yeah! Why not? He wants to show up that kid during the break, huh? It's about where that kid made it.
I'll say sometimes those are the best shots to get you on track as a shooter. Shot clock running down. Everybody clear out. Let me do my thing.
One guy gets $900. The other guy puts his team up by 12. Gonzaga with just 2 made threes, and if it ends this way, it'll be their lowest three-point outcome of the year. Coleman, great pass to Karnowski, and Goulart just picked up foul number 4. That'll probably be the last we'll see of him for a while.
You know, we said it. As a shooter who's struggling to get going, sometimes the best way to get your shot going is to take a shot down in the shot clock. 30 feet out, crossover, little rhythm dribble, pull a shot. You hope that this is something that gets Pangos going, not only just the three-point shot, but just gets him in a little bit of rhythm offensively, because without Pangos going, this team does struggle a bit.
That three-point make was the 188th of his career. He ties Dan Dickau now for 7th place all-time here at Gonzaga. Comes just 9 games into his junior campaign. And that's perfect shooting threes, though.
Excuse me, that says something about Mark Few, too. You have a lot of great shooters, and he gives them the green light and opportunities to shoot that basketball. So really credit Mark Few with some of the talent that he's had here at Gonzaga.
Napawe, a terrific move in the lane to score 2 more. Pangos, you were telling me yesterday you got a chance to come to practice a day earlier, and he actually sat out yesterday with an injury.
Yeah, he sat out, and I think it's just one of those situations where no one's ever really healthy, especially at this point. Novembers have been busy.
And there's Coleman again. It's been just too easy for him. 19 for Coleman. Aronis answers on the other end with a 3 in the corner, and a quick timeout for the Aggies.
You like what Gonzaga's doing offensively, too, spacing the floor. We talked about how important their spacing is. Defense tends to fall asleep. When you have Bular out of the game, this space is wide open. It's wide open. There's nobody occupying the paint defensively for New Mexico State, and Coleman doing what he does best, getting to the basket with or without the ball and making things happen. I'll tell you what, Coleman has been the key for Gonzaga in this game because they haven't gotten the three-point shot. He is taking advantage of a defense that cannot get back as quickly as Gonzaga can, and he's taking advantage of sleepy defenders on defense.
Gonzaga Bulldogs getting ready for West Coast Conference play here in January. And our West Coast headlines: the Buffs, a buzzer beater to stun number 6 Kansas. Andrew Wiggins had 22 points in that game, but Askia Booker with 15 points. And how about number 2 Arizona surviving a scare at home against UNLV? They're 9-0 and should be number 1 for the first time since 2003 come Monday.
You know, everybody talks about this number 1. We're going to be number 1. Oh, it doesn't matter. It doesn't change how we play. I think in some ways it does. UNLV played very well today, but Arizona just looked a little stiff.
Early on in the season, that's already going to be our 3rd different number 1 team. Here's Dower after the entry pass from Pangos. Karnowski is there and cleans it up on the glass.
It's going to be a tough go for New Mexico State, with Karnowski and Dower really attacking the offensive glass. Sim on the bench. I mean, this is going to be a really tough go for them because they rely on Sim Bowler's presence down low.
Yep.
I mean, they would just rely on his occupying space, whether it's defensive rebounding, offensive rebounding, getting the ball in the post, playing inside out.
Shilly Napawe just drew contact against Karnowski. That's going to be the 3rd on Shimmick Karnowski, who has 9 points on 2 of 8 shooting.
And as this is an 11-point game with 8:45 left, you have to wonder at what point Coach Menzies brings Bular back. I think at some point you just may have to say, hey, we can't let this game get out of control. Let's let him go. Let's see if we can trust him for a little while.
Napawe knocks down both. The lead is 10. This is a New Mexico State team that got to the free throw line 301 times in November. And they did play 9 times. That seems astonishing to me. First that they played 9 times in November, but they got to the free throw line 301 times.
Well, I think you look at Mullins. He likes to get to the basket. He will attack and get to the foul line. And then Bular as well.
Pangos with the left hand and scores it. 10 points for Kevin Pangos now, the 3rd in double figures for the Bulldogs.
Let me tell you, young fellas out there, learn how to shoot that shot. That is a very difficult shot to make, and he shoots it with a lot of confidence.
And Aronis, that'll go for 2. He's keeping him in it. Now you should buy whatever video Kevin Pangos is selling on shooting after his career, because 50% so far this year from the floor and 48% on threes. And it's a big sampling. He's 31 of 62 now shooting threes, but this time he attacks the basket, says it's there. I'll take the easy hoop around the screen. 10 for Pangos, and the lead is 10 for the Bulldogs. Gonzaga led by a point at half. They lead by 10 now with 7:52 to go, thanks in part to the play of Kevin Pangos, who has a career-high 8 rebounds to go along with 10 points.
You know, that just says that he's staying active. You know, we didn't see him get off to a fast start offensively. Really just struggled in the first half. hit 2 big threes there, and then getting to the basket, making things happen. I think ultimately a guy like this needs rhythm shots, and that's one of them. Pulling up on the fast break, and then the shot clock running down. Guys love that shot. You see the craftiness. I mean, that's a very difficult shot. Jumping off the opposite leg, finishing with the left hand with defenders flying at you. Kevin Pangos is an incredibly skilled basketball player, and seeing the 8 rebounds tells me that this is a kid that fights, whether he's scoring or not, getting it done, keeping his team in it, while guys like Gerard Coleman opening up the floor for him to do what he's done.
Pangos has made the only 2 threes of the ball game for Gonzaga. They're 2 for 7, shooting a 28.6% clip. But again, they're second behind only Colgate in three-point shooting at 48%, and right on cue, the kid is 3 for 3.
He must have heard us talking about him. He said, I got to get another highlight in there. That's just a great offensive set, though, out of bounds underneath, finding Kevin Pangos on a screen for a wide open shot. Great execution. Those are the things coaches like Mark Few, they preach this execution. They love that.
Matches the biggest lead of the game for the Bulldogs at 13. This won't be the last we'll hear of the Aggies, though, this year. Here's Mullings. If they don't pull it out, he answers with a 3 on the opposite end. He's in double figures now with 10. Coleman attacks. Coleman scores. That's 21 for Coleman. Mullings with penetration. Can't get the shot to fall. Pangos around the Dower screen. Here's Coleman again. Not that time. Just inside of 6.5 to go from the Kennel. Another sold-out arena. The folks, it's going to be -4 in Spokane overnight. But they'll enjoy this win. Aronis, and before he got that shot off, there was a foul. And that's going against the Aggies in Napawe.
And again, we talk about the execution out of bounds underneath. Kevin Pangos coming off this double screen, and as a defender, you cannot go underneath the screen because a guy like Kevin Pangos is going to bury you, just as he did right there. Mark Few, great job getting your guys to execute.
32 of 63 on threes here for Kevin Pangos on the year. Coleman, dish to Karnowski, throws it up wildly over his head, and it won't fall. If that goes in, I would just start the bus for New Mexico State.
At least warm it.
He's right. This is Dixon. Got it stripped, got it back. Great defense by Karnowski. Mullings, and he scores and gets fouled. So an N1 play here for New Mexico State and Mullings.
You know, and ultimately what sets this up is Kevin Pangos actually honoring Mullings' jump shot. He just came down, knocked down a 3 a couple possessions ago, puts the ball on the deck, gets to the basket and one, stops the clock here with 5:43 left. I mean, this is still a ball game. We got 10 points, and we still haven't seen Big Sin back in the game yet. So look for him to come in at around the 5-minute mark and try to get control of this game.
Karnowski just picked up his 4th personal. He has 9 points. He goes to Mark Few's bench. Ten-point advantage for the Bulldogs. Pangos, great pass to Dower, and slams it home. Gets fouled, count it, a free throw coming, and Boular's coming back in to stop that.
No, this is Kevin Pangos using the high ball screen. You got to go over top. He's a crafty player, and look at it, draw defense and dish for the finish. That is Kevin Pangos using his skill set, using that high ball screen, making a man trail, and finding the open player in Dower. Just a wide open, good flush, strong finish.
Dower, a kid enjoying Elias Harris, and Kelly Olynyk moving on. Can't complete the three-point play. Olynyk with the Celtics didn't play last night, and Elias Harris just released about 2 weeks ago from the Lakers roster. They had assigned him to the D-League. Heard he was up here in Spokane the last couple of days. That got blocked by Coleman. Add that to his resume tonight.
Doing a little bit of everything tonight.
Pangos around that screen again. Too hard, but there is Dower. He's got 16. And a foul on the drive there by Daniel Mullins.
You know, Kevin Pangos is doing a great job with the ball in his hand. You're going to see David Stockton come back in the game, but he is drawing defense with the ball in his hand, and it's opening up opportunities for Dower to attack the glass. Here you see 3 defensive players covering Kevin Pangos because of the offensive skill set, and it opens up the offensive glass for guys like Dower.
Dower with 18 is 4 ahead of his scoring average of 14 on the year. Coleman comes out and gets a big hand here from the fans at the Kennel.
And I got to say, that's probably the biggest difference between the first half and the second half offensively for Gonzaga is Kevin Pangos using the ball screen. He is using the ball screen to get his man on his back, drive, dish, drive, finish. He does it all.
Coleman exits with 19 points on 10 of 19 shooting. I told you Gerard Coleman was going to find 19 shots in this hotly contested game. Would you believe me?
For him, man. And a lot of those are putbacks, too. He's really getting after the offensive glass and sticking back.
Rare turnover by the Bulldogs may lead to an easy transition bucket, and it does there by Daniel Mullins. $11-point advantage here for the Bulldogs, coming up on 4 to go. If Gonzaga wins, they're going to get to 8-1. Coming up next, a trip to West Virginia in 3 days. Stockton feeds the post. And Dower trying to feed a streaking Dranginis. 5 to shoot and a blocking foul as the Bulldogs get bowled out. Elias Harris, we told you there was a sighting. He's in the building. He likes what he sees out of Dower and company. There he is. Elias Harris had a tremendous career here at Gonzaga, but I'm not quite sure he had shots as easy as Sam Dower has had around the rim here tonight.
No. And ultimately, it's Gonzaga using the high ball screen here with Kevin Pangos. And here's, we take a look right here. He is forcing his defender to go over the screen from 30 feet out, and that's because he's such a good shooter. Now you see him occupy 3 defenders in the paint, and what that's going to give you is a wide-open Sam Dower for a strong finish and one. Send him to the line. That's what's made Gonzaga successful in this second half.
Elias Harris, 2nd all-time in rebounds, 4th all-time in scoring. Enjoying what Sam Dower has done here. 18 points on 8 of 16 shooting. But Elias is looking for a team to play with. Lakers cut him almost 2 weeks ago. He had a great summer, signed with the Lakers. Was playing for their D-League team for a game, had a great game, and then was released. Logjam right there at the power forward spot for the Lakers. Jordan Hill and Sean Williams were 1 and 2, and the other draft pick Ryan Kelly at a Duke was 3. So there really wasn't any room for Elias Harris to remain on the roster. Plus, if they held him until January, his deal would be guaranteed. So just a numbers game for Elias.
Yep, certainly not a talent thing. I mean, an unbelievable asset to have around the program now, just in terms of a resource for players to talk to. I mean, obviously, he's not a coach, can't coach, but a resource for players who are going through what he went through.
Lakers D-League affiliate, the LA Defenders, is like Gonzaga South. They had Robert Sacre there last year. Matt Bolden is there. Elias Harris was there for a while this year. You can come down and watch them play. Go to Disneyland if you're a Gonzaga fan.
That's amazing.
This is Mullins, under 10 to shoot. And that 3 by Ross Miller was no good. Dixon went up and got fouled. Want to remind you, ESPNU delivers 3 college basketball games on Sunday. It starts with a battle in the ACC as the Virginia Tech Hokies face the Miami Hurricanes, 12:30. Then at 5, the Oregon Ducks out of the Pac-12 take on the Ole Miss Rebels. And at 8, the Pirates of Seton Hall battle the Scarlet Knights of Rutgers. College basketball on ESPN tips Sunday at 12:30. All 3 games also available on Watch ESPN.
We've seen a lot of great college basketball already thus far in this season. We talk about parity every year at the NCAA tournament, but really I think you're seeing it this year more than ever. You have a lot of talent at the top, but there's a lot of talent across the country where teams are going to be able to compete that otherwise have struggled in the past.
And an early start this year as they've adjusted the time frame. A lot of teams playing 7, 8, maybe even 9 contests in November when normally you'd have 3, 4 at best. These guys should be ready to go by the start of March Madness. Stockton left open for 3, and they're starting to heat up. That's their 4th make in 9 attempts.
It's an important shot for him to take and make because they're going to give it to him. It's the only way you can cover the rest of the floor is to give him that look.
Simbular with a big body and then bangs it off the glass. Rather quiet night for him. That's points 5 and 6. They didn't have many block shots either. Of course, had the foul problem at about 18:33 to go. The flagrant that put him on the bench. Changed the dynamic of this game. Zags have pulled away ever since. That's Dower again over Bular.
That's David Stockton with a great feed. He's got great vision. His father certainly gave him that. But the patience to probe and find the right man.
20 for Dower on 9 of 17 shooting. Contact. And the Aggies will get free throws.
Yeah, Bular, I mean, seriously, Barham's going to take the worst of this one. I would not step in and take that hit, although if you don't take it, you're going to hear about it in film session the next day. Yep. So good for him. Take the shot. Good no call. Again, you can't call a foul on a guy for being big. That's something Shaq dealt with. I think Bular deals with that a bit, being 7'5", 360 pounds.
He still has 2 more years to go. He's one of 7 foreign players on Marvin Menzies' roster. 4 from Toronto spread out over 4 classes, and 5 of the 7 foreigners did play high school hoops in the United States. So it's not as if the budget is any bigger in Las Cruces for Marvin Menzies to go to Croatia to find guys. And they have another one coming in the Bular family.
Yeah, Tanvir, 7'3", and we talked about it. Probably a little smoother game, can step out, hit the jump shot. You put both of those bodies in the post. I mean, right now you got Chili down there, and he does a great job. But Tanvir, this is a guy that they feel they have very high hopes for. They feel can come in and be an immediate impact player, but to play alongside of his brother, the 2 big redwoods down in the post. I mean, you talk about a force.
Certainly could have used him here tonight as Gonzaga has dominated in the paint. They haven't needed that 3-point part of their game.
And it's been Sam Dower. Sam Dower, great footwork. Obviously, the big man, he knows how to get it done too, but probing, finding the right man. Sam Dower running the floor, but also getting to the right spot. I mean, attacking the offensive glass, getting chippies, getting easy stick bats, running the floor well, getting themselves easy looks because the 3-point shot wasn't there to start. And really, it hasn't been there. You look at 10.8 3-point shots made per game. They're nowhere close. So, I mean, Kevin Pangos bringing them back with a few late threes down the stretch. But Sam Dower doing a great job. Then Gerard Coleman attacking the glass, doing a good job of taking what the defense gives him.
Inside of 2 to go, a team that averages close to 92 points a game probably will get to a little over 80. Gonzaga dropped 90 or more in 5 games, including 113 on Chaminade and 100 on Bryant in their opener. Won't get there tonight, but we'll be happy to go 8-1 heading into a game with West Virginia on the road.
Yeah, against a very good New Mexico State team. A very big team that poses a lot of challenges and threats to this Gonzaga team.
And of course, the West Coast Conference added a team in Pacific that got a big win today on the road in Logan, Utah against Utah State, who's moved on to the Mountain West Conference. Ross Miller bearing a 3, perhaps too little too late with 1:18 to go. Brings it back to a 10-point advantage. Quick timeout for the Aggies.
Too little too late. It is a close ball game. I think what's key right now, if you're Coach Menzies, you're telling your players, we have to keep the ball out of Kevin Pangos' hands. We have to keep the ball out of his hands because he can just dominate, massage it with the dribble. He's not a guy you want to foul. He shoots 92% from the foul line. So right now, Coach Menzies telling his guys, hey, look, we have to make sure Kevin Pangos does not catch the ball out of bounds.
That is the final Timeout for New Mexico State. Gives us a chance to remind you. Last two teams standing in women's college soccer face-off Sunday for the right to be called champion. Florida State against UCLA. The Noles have been to 7 cups since 2003, including each of the past 3, but have never won a national championship. And like Florida State, UCLA has been to the Women's College Cup many times, only to come up short. 9 appearances. They have 0 women's soccer national championships. So somebody's going to get one tomorrow. Championship of the NCAA Women's College Cup presented by Northwestern Mutual, Sunday at 3 on ESPNU, also live on Watch ESPN. Alongside John Crispin, I'm Steve Quist. A lot of these fans, at least a dozen of them, waited outside in 3-degree temperature today to get a front row seat. It's not like they waited to get in because the tickets are guaranteed, but they wait to sit either behind us and make funny faces. Yeah, I felt badly too, because as we walked out of the gymnasium, I actually took a picture of them. I felt like I was taking a picture of animals at the zoo. And I apologized. I said, I'm sorry you guys are sitting here for the game, but we have to take a picture of you. I cannot believe you're doing what you're doing. This isn't Krzyzewskiville, you know what I'm saying? It's not 70 degrees out. This is some sub-zero temperatures, but I'll tell you what, Spokane, like I said, a destination for college basketball. Put this on your bucket list. This is a great place to come to watch a college basketball game. Mark Few has done an amazing job with his team. It is so impressive to see what they've built here in Spokane. If you can find a ticket. Yeah. Or just join the media like us. I stuck my head out and told all those people that the game got moved to the convention center. They weren't happy. No. Usually they have tent cities lined up, but the university, as we told you, the Open said, nah, it's too much of a health hazard. Stockton to Dower. Why not? Wow. 21 and 22 points for him tonight. Inside of a final minute, whistle and a foul against the Bulldogs. Here's what's ahead for Gonzaga before opening up West Coast Conference play. West Virginia on Tuesday. You can see it on ESPN. South Alabama and Kansas State. They'll actually open up West Coast Conference play late in December, getting things started this year. I know some conferences, the Mountain West Conference, can open up on New Year's Day. Jeez. That sounds like fun. So much for the early start in November. Yeah, really. Although this November has been packed with basketball. I mean, some of the best teams in the country have already had 4 or 5 tests just in 1 month. Well, and some of the conferences are getting so big you need the extra time. Yeah, that's true. That's true. The WAC conference is going to have 9 teams in 9 different states this year. 6 teams left, 6 new ones came in. Gonzaga is going to win yet again at home. It'll be their 33rd win in their last 34 games here at the Kennel. And why not? 2 more for Gonzaga to put the finishing touches on this one. Eldridge, the 3 goes in and out. They'll dribble it out, and that's the ball game. The Gonzaga Bulldogs at number 19 were down as many as 6 in the first half. Then Gerard Coleman comes off the bench, sparks him with 21. Sam Dower Jr. had 22. And the end result is the Bulldogs with a 12-point victory over the New Mexico State Aggies. 21 for Coleman, a season high in just 21 minutes. He also had 4 rebounds. For our great ESPN crew and my partner, John Crispin, I'm Steve Quist reminding you our final score again. Number 19, Gonzaga 80, New Mexico State 68. For more information, log on to ESPN.com. Good night from Spokane.